Okay, record button hit. Can somebody just say that you can hear me okay? Thank you, Beth. Beth can hear me. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Thanks for saying that. So let's go ahead today and touch upon a few things. The main thing I wanted to do today was talk about promoting single property listings with conversion. We do this every now and then. We have a guest on. We have Jody McNamer. You there, Jody, from out in Washington?
Yeah, sure, Amaran. How's it going?
Good, good. Jody's been running some very interesting campaigns, and I thought it'd be cool if he shared those with us today. And then I'm going to specifically build a campaign live for you guys. I'm going to hem and haw. I didn't really prepare, but we're going to also throw together a campaign built around a Matterport tour. A lot of people ask me how to promote their Matterport, so we're going to build a campaign after Jody's done that kind of positions a Matterport tour as the lead magnet thing you're giving away, but also pushes those leads into conversion at the same time. So we're going to get a little geeky and have fun with that. So Jody, you want to talk a little bit about what, the background behind the campaigns you're running, and then I'll switch the screen to you as you talk?
Yeah, totally. So really, the long and the short of it, I think you and I are a bit similar in that we have family members that are in real estate, or are, or we have friends in real estate. Of course, all of us do. But my brother happens to be in real estate, and hopefully you can see my screen now. This is actually one of our conversion dashboards. I started helping my brother. As you know, I've been a real estate coach and trainer for the last 28 years. Actually, I brought my brother into the business. He was in the banking industry. Things didn't go so well in banking, many years back. And so I'm like, well, man, why don't you come and, help out in real estate? And at that time, I had a real estate investment company, and I owned a real estate brokerage. And we actually started working with a large hedge fund that happened to be in the taking advantage of some of the downturn in the market, and we ended up literally buying lots and lots of homes on behalf of them, and that's how he kind of cut his teeth. Well, when all of a sudden the market started firming back up again, he needed to really kind of retool his business because he had worked with investor clients for so long. He really didn't work with regular buyers and sellers. And so as I worked with him to retool the business, and again, after knowing you, Ryan, and some of the work that you had done with conversion, well, conversion is really going to be an interesting platform for him. So we did an implementation, and I think I'm just going to kind of demonstrate some of the results of me applying what I've been doing in the last 28 years just in coaching and best practices and kind of direct response advertising, and then also in the use of technology and conversion. And ultimately, at the end of the day, all that's just a big complicated explanation to, hey, we get some people to talk to and hopefully close some transactions, and we'll show you how some of that is working. So okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's see. I'm specifically interested in those property campaigns. So
yeah, perfect. So here's here's one of the things that we did. I'm actually just going to show you kind of what we're doing a little bit in Facebook. So just like Ryan teaches, again, I don't know that there's a lot of special sauce other than we definitely have taken little pieces of different campaigns and we've knitted them all together, and then we probably sprinkled a little bit of special sauce in there as far as the way we're doing audience targeting to really get our cost per lead down. So if we kind of take a look at what we're doing, we started out like every other, he started out, again, realized that I'm not a licensed real estate broker. I have held a real estate license. This is my brother's business. I simply just help him like I consult with all sorts of other real estate brokers across the country. But what we started to do is we started to just basically, like we followed some of your Zapier things and said, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to just go out and we're going to target motivated sellers, and then we're going to try to get a lead form for motivated sellers, and then we're going to send that lead form to Zapier. That worked okay. But we found that our costs just typically, let me switch just the lifetime so we can actually start seeing some of these costs.
I was going to ask you to do that.
Yeah, that's a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I mean, we're like 17 bucks a lead, and I'm like, well, that really sucks. That's not really very cool. So, so I'm like, there's got to be different ways of doing that because some of this was just too expensive for us. And so when we started playing around with it, what we did was we started testing different audiences, and hopefully this will, I'm
Yeah,
not
if you
seeing
switch it
how
to
this is.
lifetime, it should show. You just had it on lifetime, but it switched back. When you,
Oh, dude, sorry about that, man.
that's okay. Yeah,
Here
I
we
want
go.
to show everybody. I want everybody to see the lead costs, and also
Yeah, there we go.
just a tip for you. Were you
Okay.
doing $5 a day on the budget?
I was, yeah. So I basically try to start everything with $5 a day. So I kind of start with the beginning, which was I don't know if these are sorted, but the basic good old foreclosure list, right? Where we said, okay, well, hey, maybe let's try a motivated seller list. And this was just where we literally would put in an ad using the same pictures of motivated sellers,
Yeah.
and then we would target them towards different types of audiences. And so it's probably easier to see in the Power Editor. I'm doing kind of a very poor job of this, but we would target this same ad. Here's a list of properties where the sellers express motivation to sell. If you're looking for a great deal in UP, you might like this. And again, then this just simply went to the price reduced list. So this was the squeeze page, or the squeeze page builder for price reduced homes, or actually I think no, this one was just the search where you put in, you know, reduced in the search criteria. So that's kind of how we began this whole thing. But we were really trying to work on improving the quality of our leads. And so as we started to progress, we realized that we really needed to do some pretty serious targeting, and one of the best ways to target was to almost kind of get, you see some of the other people that are using like Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia, they're looking at specific properties. And so that's exactly what we started to do, is we started to say, hey, listen, let's go out and start marketing specific properties. And, you know, we'll always probably run some of our free home price reports and our free foreclosure list, but where we're really getting the low cost per lead is when we are out targeting specific types of people with specific types of properties. And as you can see, I mean, we've generated, you know, a significant number of leads. These campaigns have not been going on for that long. You can kind of take a look at this. So we started back in November. So in 10 days, you know, we've generated 45 leads, just targeting renters that live within 10 miles. Actually, that's not true. I just use that as a label. I'll show you some of the audience demographics.
Right. And these are lead
What's
ads.
that?
You're getting full name, email, phone because of the Zapier lead ad integration. I just want to give everybody that context. Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly right. And so that's kind of a cool deal, because for us, you know, leads at $1, that's really good. And what's even better about it is that we know, because when we set them up in Zapier, we put the Zapier tag with the MLS number so that our buyer brokers know specifically what property they're looking at.
Cool.
So the way that they engage with those people and those leads that come over is much different. And it's, hey, I noticed that you were looking at, or I noticed that you had interest in this particular property on Wind and Tide. When would you like to go take a look at it? You know, and then ensues the conversation from there. So it's not dissimilar to what, you know, other lead providers are doing.
Yeah, but this
as well.
You're getting it sets the tone for the follow-up, and you know a lot more about the lead and their price range maybe because they're responding. Now they don't necessarily, a lot of them are probably opting in and they're just curious, right, about their neighbor's house.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting about it, Ryan, is that as you can see, and we'll kind of go through a couple of these real quick. So like this happens to be one in a little bit more of a rural area in Gig Harbor. So this one had a big following of renters. You know, you can see that the ads were exactly the same money, $5 a day, and exactly the same time frame. but yet but our cost per lead was interesting because it was still at $1.17 versus $1.08. So very, very similar for this type of property. Actually, excuse me, that's not true. I inactivated this one. What's that?
You mean homeowner versus renter? That's a good split test you have on
right.
the screen. Yeah.
Exactly, homeowner versus renter. And so, so when you take, well, let's go back through and we'll take a look at some of these other properties real quick because I think it kind of does tell the story. Here's one in a little bit more of an urban area. Again, very similar cost per lead, or excuse me, almost a double the cost per lead. So our renters cost us $2 a lead, whereas the homeowners cost us $1 a lead.
Can we see
because it was in? Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, so I keep talking over you, and I apologize. I just
no. In fact, I think what we need to do on this one is we need to go to because I don't think it allows us in this one. Yeah, see, it doesn't. So let me switch to the real quick.
Yeah, you can look, Jody. You can look at you see the little eyeball up top?
Oh, I can't. Oh, sorry, dude. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Thanks, you're teaching
I just know because I'm always in where you're sitting right now, demonstrating right there. So
all right, perfect. Oh, eyeball.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. You just saved me like all this time, which is awesome. All right, so here's the thing. Amazing value in this price-reduced home in Kent. Click for price and detail. Kind of a crappy picture, actually, even as well. But then once they click on that, it just simply goes to the lead form. So we can actually take a look at that permalink. If they click on it, it actually brings that up. Well, it doesn't because I'm logged in.
So let me explain to everybody who hasn't seen it. What Jody's talking about is when he usually would click this, because he's already opted in, you're not seeing it, it would pre-fill their name, email, and phone accurate that Facebook has in that little box. Right, Jody? And then they continue the conversion to see the details about the property, and they're logged in.
Yep. Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And then what ends up happening is then when our agents get a lead that comes through, like we'll just take a look at one of Steve's buyer brokers here. As this new active lead, we'll just take a look at one that came in today, and hopefully again. You can see that it came in, it's at MLS number 1019172. So Ebony knows that Christine looked at this property even though it doesn't show up in her activity, and then when she goes to set up an alert, she's going to set up an alert that is specifically for properties in this neighborhood when she makes contact with her, because Christine just literally clicked on that and she's going to get the email. So it's very, very powerful. We actually get people, driving in the car sometimes the same day. We actually just had that happen yesterday where they're just like, hey, yeah, I'll go out and see it at 4 o'clock. And that's all as a result of these ads.
So the follow-up is really simple. It's kind of like, hey, I saw you looking at that house. You want to go see it? and then
no, that's exactly right, right? And if you overcomplicate it, then you're doing it wrong, because it really, it's literally this simple. They click on the ad, that they're either a homeowner or a renter. The renters are the ones that typically are the ones that are going to get in the car. The homeowner conversation goes something like, again, hey, I noticed that you looked at that place out in Kent on 219th. When would you like to go see it? That's it. And then their response is, oh, I'm just looking. Hey, completely understand that. How long have you been looking, right? And then it's, well, we're just kind of we've got an agent we're working with. Hey, I completely respect that. Has your agent been finding you properties like this, right? And so again, it's just these conversations that goes on. Well, if I could find a property, hey, I would love to send you some information specifically for my site. I have 28 other properties that are like this. Could we get together? But then if they're homeowners, then they'll say, which is really interesting as well, yeah, I know this house, or I've driven by this house, because what we're doing is actually, and I'll show you some of this in the targeting real quick. So see where we have a latitude and longitude. So Ryan, Facebook has the ability to, as you've indicated, to drop a pin and you can target a 1 mile radius from that pin. So what we do is we drop the pin on our targeting right smack on where that house is, and we only target to 1 mile. So even though this says rent 33 plus renters 10 miles, that's simply just because I copy campaigns, and this happened to be from a rural campaign, because of course if you're in a rural campaign, your audience size is not going to be large enough to do that. But if you're in a more urban or definitely a city, you can target down to 1 mile, and I'll tell you that's been very effective, because people say, oh no, you know what, I know that house, I was just interested in it because I saw it on my Facebook. And then the conversation goes something to the effect of, oh, well, man, thanks so much for taking a look at it. Have you ever thought about selling your house? Oh, no, I never would do that. And say, hey, completely understand that. You know, we have a lot of people that have generated huge amounts of interest. Do you know anyone else in your neighborhood that would like to do that? Oh, no, I don't know anyone. And say, well, hey, totally makes sense. Again, we have tons of people that this may not fit. If you ever think about doing it, in fact, what I love to do is shoot me your email address, and I'll just send you what your home is worth, and I'll send you what the last 5 homes sold for in the neighborhood. How does that sound? Right? And then you just drip on them as a seller, and you just update. And by the way, all that information is already in conversion because it came over as a Zapier lead.
So you could also try to generate. You could stay focused on that property and ask if they have any friends who want the property, right? Who might?
Boy, that's a great idea, dude. Yeah. Because in fact, have to bring that up to them.
Everybody knows.
But you can also.
Everybody knows somebody who's thinking about buying or selling. So I guess if you ask them, they're thinking about buying.
No, yeah, that's a great idea. And then also you see, we've got pretty high relevancy too on this stuff, right? I mean, we've got a relevancy of 8, which means that hopefully our price is going to go down. And it's different, and you'll see a difference in when you have properties that are in more rural areas and then properties that are in the city. Like this happens to be a city property. Again, what's fascinating about it is that, like, you'll see the one in the urban, the Kent property, ended up costing us twice the amount of money, whereas this one in the city and then the rurals, the renter lead flow is about exactly the same as the homeowner lead flow as far as leads go. So I think they're both equally important, because you're going to get your listings from your homeowners and you're going to get your buyers from your renters. So
for $1.66, I'm thinking about that calculator thing I built a few months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, at $1.47 a lead, what's your average transaction size, or how much is that particular house right there?
Yeah, so this particular one I think is just about 400 grand.
Wow.
For this little charmer. So
that's $12,000, $10,000 transaction side, call it. I mean, if you generate 100 of those leads for $130 and you call all 100 of them, and you just ask all of them if they know somebody who might want to buy a house, I mean,
yeah,
you should get a 1% take. So for $130, you should be able to do a $400,000 deal if you're diligent.
It really is a numbers game. You're absolutely right. And so that's exactly what our buyer brokers, are out here doing, because, I mean, if you take a look at, their typical activity streams, right, I mean, it's just packed, with people looking for homes. I mean, this is just, we haven't even hit the last 24 hours yet. And, Steve's not spending more than, you saw the numbers. Maybe it's $25 a day, something like that. But, when you've got, it's a game changer when you've got $2, $3 lead flow, versus $6 and $7 lead flow. And when you have $1 and $2 lead flow, that's a major game changer as far as just people to talk to.
Oh, this is a good question. So there's a couple questions. One is, 2 people are asking, do you need the consent of the listing agent? And the answer is, of course. Right, Jody? These are probably your inventory or a broker who says.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no. So this is absolutely key, right? You can't just go out and market other people's listings. You need permission to either do that. And oftentimes your brokerage, if that you're part of, will have the agreement of all of the brokers that work at that brokerage that you can market it. But no, you would never want to market a property that you didn't have permission, or that it was not the brokerage's and there was an agreement among the brokers to be able to give the property the maximum exposure inside that brokerage.
Okay, and then the next questions we have. So guys, if you don't have your own listings, I know the gentleman my license is with here in Florida, he calls other brokers and works out deals all the time. So ask your broker to do that yourself. You can use HUD in a lot of cases. So don't let that be a hurdle that you don't have any listings. You can find listings to do this with. Yeah. And the next thing is, somebody says, why do you have leads? We had a few questions about Zapier. Why do you have the leads go through Zapier and not straight to conversion? And the answer is a little technical. I think maybe, Jody, I may need to jump after we're done talking and do a demo of how to set it up, unless you want.
Yeah. But yeah, I can definitely I can definitely at least try to give it a shot here real quick.
The answer is, you can even show the anatomy of one of the existing Zaps you have without walking through the whole thing, if you want.
Yeah, so let me see here. Let's do this, Jody. Perfect. Got it.
All right. And then but the answer is, it's hard to get Facebook's lead ad, the specific objective called lead generation objective, that pre-fills the name, email, phone. That doesn't send that data into conversion. There's no way to do that. We have access to like a back end thing that we use when you order leads a la carte through us, but you guys don't have any way to do that. So Zapier is the bridge, and Zapier happens to have a module, as you can see on Jody's screen, that lets you shoot a Facebook lead ad into conversion.
Yeah, so think about it really as it's just a way of taking information from one place and putting it another. And Zapier is just this generic, basically translation tool that takes hundreds of different applications and helps them communicate with other applications. So it just happens that conversion provided Zapier with some information that allows them to interface into the conversion systems, not dissimilar to if you've wanted to import your scope of influence list or import a leads list, you send it into customer service and customer service just imports it for you. Well, they've allowed Zapier access so that they can use other application, in this particular case Facebook leads, in order to get the information in. And so that's exactly what it, go ahead, Rod. Sorry.
Yeah, can you just, since you have it on your screen, just so we can show everybody, can you show the Facebook trigger?
Yeah.
And guys,
absolutely.
On the screen, this is how you use Zapier. Zapier has a wizard that's basically going to walk you through all this. It's not very complicated, but Jody's going to show you the different fields and what he's had to do.
Yeah, so what happens is, again, it's very, very easy. You just click on, create new Zap, and it takes you into basically a whole series of dialog boxes. And actually, I'm going to show you here real quick. It's just literally, hey, we're going to make a Zap. What we want to do is we want to go from a Facebook lead ad. So we just simply say, hey, here's a Facebook lead ad. Say that 10 times fast. And then it says triggers when a new lead is created. Okay, well, good. That's what I want. And then the question is, okay, well, where do you want to link it? Well, I want to link it to my Agent Broker Training account because that's my company and that's my Facebook account. As you can see, this is Agent Broker Training, right? Then it says, well, what page? Well, that page happens to be my Pierce County real estate page. And so the Pierce County real estate page then actually has quite a few different forms because these are all the properties, right? It has a Highlands property. This was that North Prospect one that we just took a look at. So I'm going to say, hey, I want to link that form. We click continue. It actually goes through and kind of connects it. Says, hey, I want to make sure that it's talking correctly. I want to make sure the form is actually there. Hey, it was successful. Perfect. So the first part of this now is set up. Then the question becomes is, all right, great. I've got a trigger, meaning someone clicks on my ad and creates a lead. Okay, great. We've got that identified. Now, what do we want to have happen? Well, we want it to actually go into, in this particular case, conversion. And as you can see, I have different applications, like I also use Infusionsoft, so sometimes I'll have triggers that go there, and you can have it send emails, you can have it all do all sorts of different things. But in the context of this discussion, it is you want to send the lead into conversion. So that's what you want to do. You want to add the lead. So then the question is okay, well, what do you want? Well, my brother's company is McNamer Properties, and so we're going to identify that, and then it's just simply mapping the fields. It's, hey, here's the email field, here's the phone number field, here's the full name field, and you basically go through and populate those fields. And what's really, really important is always make sure that you also put the hashtag in. Now, do not start your hashtag with a number. Do not do that. Do not just put the MLS number. Yeah, make sure that you use some kind of letter like MLS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for your hashtag. And the other thing that I found is really, really super helpful is when you know, like, this is Wind and Tide Drive or whatever, go ahead and put a little note in there just saying, you know, this person is interested in, you know, Tacoma, or, you know, Wind and Tide, you know, Drive, right? You just cut and paste the address there. What's really cool then is that everything that then shows up about that active lead, like if we take a look at Christine Olson, and especially as you're building your team, when you go into the notes section, it says, hey, here's where it came from. And in this particular Zap, I didn't put a note in. I was kind of lazy. But then anything that you type on your Zap will show up in your notes section. And you can also put information in there about your price point and interested area. And then you just simply click continue, and then your Zap becomes active.
Jody,
yeah.
That note section might be a good place to just put the link to the property for your agents, right?
Oh, dude, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so you can paste in the link to the property so they don't, you know, they can quickly go see what they were looking at.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and so you just put that in the notes, and then boom, you're ready to go. And then again, it's create and continue. The test was successful. Again, you can go on to other steps, but no, I don't want to do this. Now, I'm not going to finish. I don't want to make this live, you know, as well, so I'm just going to kind of dump out of that one. Yeah, that's the way Zapier works. So it may seem complicated. In fact, it's actually quite simple. Once you've kind of done one, it really works great. And there is something about when people use Facebook lead forms, I don't know, it's like they get sucked in, that it becomes really relevant for them and your lead costs go down. And we've tested.
Yeah, that point right there is really key. So somebody's asking, you know, can I just build a landing page? And you definitely can, but you've experienced this too, because you've done a lot with landing pages versus this lead ad process. You want to share the difference in your results?
Yeah, I'll kind of show you. I think I can show you, right? So you've got, here is our lifetime lead cost. These are, you can see where it says lead forms here, right? At $1.46, $1.56, $1.09. You know, these are our actual lead forms, and you'll see all of these are lead form ads, 271, 342, 355. And again, you'll see that our foreclosure and price reduce are a little bit higher because it's not as targeted of an audience. But then when you go down to the actual getting like link clicks, and I don't think that, I don't have conversion numbers.
It costs as much to get the clicks sometimes as it does the lead with a lead ad.
Dude, it does, right? Like here's a Pierce County Renters campaign. It's cost me $2.98 a click. Here was one where it was, I tried a for sale by owner conversion ad. Don't do that. It's pretty expensive.
Hey, you got a lead. Hey, a lead for $15.
I did, but man, it was just like, lead. It was actually another real estate agent because I forgot to put out all the other real estate brokers, which was pretty funny. It was a really, really cool campaign. I'm still going to play around with it a little bit because I still think I can get it to work. But yeah, here, you know, you're talking motivated sellers at $2.08 a click.
And then the landing
And
page converts it, if you're lucky, about 10 or 20%, right? If you're lucky.
right, so our lead cost at best were running us like, $9-10 a lead. I'm just like, dude, it's just, yeah. I mean, and hey, even at $9-10 a lead, actually, it's profitable because, I mean, we're an average price point of, 380,000, something like that. So you can pay 10-20 bucks a lead. But if you don't have to, why would you?
Right.
And
So that's the reason why behind struggling through the Zapier integration. Tony's
yeah, right. I mean, you can cut your
Tony's
lead cost.
Tony's asking, this is for single properties. Yeah, we're specifically talking about doing this for single properties today. And there was a question from Brian, a technical question. Should you have already created the ad before setting the Zap? And that is correct, right, Jody? You set your ads first.
Yeah. Absolutely correct. Yeah. What you want to do is you want to set up your ads and set up your lead forms first inside of Facebook. And then at that point, Zapier can see them. Otherwise, when Zapier goes to try to connect to your Facebook account, they're not going to be able to be seen.
So what I'll do, everybody, Jody just did a great job of walking through the process. When I post a recording of this tomorrow, I'll do a quick, clean 2-minute video just showing the whole setup at the Facebook ad and at Zapier of a complete listing. This is not something currently on our a la carte menu, but I wanted to make, when Jody was sharing those numbers, I had never done a lot of these other than one video on. I feel like this is a big step forward.
Yeah, no, it's huge, right? I mean, again, you can take a look at just even in his conversion numbers just on his dashboard. I mean, literally within a week, we generated as many leads as he did in a month in his previous month, as far as buyer leads go.
Right.
I mean, it was a game changer.
We're missing the biggest. We always do this as agents, and it's not cool. We're missing the biggest reason why we should be doing this here. Because you're killing two birds here. You're actually doing your job, and you're marketing the darn listing for your seller.
Well, yeah, that's what's so great, right? I mean, and here's what's interesting, and so I hear this a lot from other brokers that'll say, oh, well, yeah, but you have to have listings, or I can't get anyone to agree to have me market their listings. Well, I mean, if you're a listing agent, and by the way, you're a listing agent that kind of takes a picture that looks like this, number one, you kind of have to ask, how much do you care about your listing? But secondly, I mean, houses do sell even with bad pictures, but wouldn't you want the maximum market exposure for your home? And so, yeah, somebody else brings a buyer, somebody else generates a buyer lead. Well, good grief, you're getting this traffic. And so when you go and if you've got a listing broker, and especially, and again, if you go out and try to talk to a listing broker that is a large listing broker, has their own marketing and leads program, you know what, they're going to say no. But if you have a broker who has had the listing up for the last 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, it's not selling, it's still a good-looking house in a decent neighborhood, man, it's worth giving them a call saying, hey, I'd love to market your property, trying to find some buyers. Would you be opposed to that? Would you be okay? Now, you will need to make sure that you also have your the brokerage's approval, right? Just because an agent gives you, many brokerages have to give that approval. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, absolutely, man. If you can bring a buyer, if you can find a buyer for this house, perfect, because my seller is on me. So people should want, and even inside your own brokerage, you should encourage your fellow brokers, fellow agents, to want to have the broadest based marketing possible for their listing. I mean, hey, so you get a buyer lead, fantastic. Maybe they'll buy your house. And so you can start to develop a little network of agents, and every time that they get a new listing, go out and advertise their listing and start generating leads this way.
So one broker, again, Zerching.com, Gustavo down there in Miami, he's got, I think this is an interesting approach, and you guys might want to talk to your brokers about this. He just approaches other brokers, and they just put in writing, like, anybody from your office can promote my listings, and anybody, they do reciprocal like that. So it's just kind of covered.
Great idea.
and then they just let their agents know, hey, so-and-so's office over there, it's cool if we promote their listings. Here are the guidelines, don't do this, don't do that. But yeah.
Yeah, and and the only thing that you have to change, and that's the other nice part about it, is once you get to know Facebook too, the only thing that really changes about it is, you just take the picture and you just change the top thing. But the click for price and details and click to see more information of this property and others for sale like it, that all stays the same. And so the ads, once you've done your first one, the second, third, fourth becomes very, very easy to do as well.
We have a question here. I'm going to get you guys a link. Because our Zapier is still in beta, there is a special process for it. We have documentation on it. So conversation.com/Zapier. I'm going to drop everybody a link to that. It's very simple. You just kind of have to click a link in your settings page of your conversion dashboard to get authorized to use conversion with Zapier. So here we go. There we are. I think you guys received that. The cost of Zapier, these are good questions, guys. Zapier is $20 a month in order to do the Facebook lead ad stuff. But again, when you look at Jody's numbers and his cost per lead, it's kind of like...
Oh, man. Yeah, there's no question.
You're going to be spending the money on Facebook ads in the first place. It doesn't even matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to do you have the first upgraded level, right, Jody? I think it's $20 a month.
That's correct. Yeah, that's all we use. We have basic plan, it's called. So I mean, you can do a most advanced, basic plan. But yeah, and for us, if you have over 1,000 leads that are coming in, then at that point is when you're going to need to upgrade.
Alan brings up a wonderful point, and this is actually totally cool. Actually, Alan's asking if you don't use Zapier, where do leads end up? You can actually just leave them in Facebook, and Jody, do you want me to take the screen and show people, or do you want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really easy, right? I mean, so like here's these 45 leads. So it's simply you're in your Facebook ad, campaign. If I want to just take a look at all my lead forms for the homeowners, you literally just click there, click on your lead forms. It says, okay, well, hey, you want to download them by date range. You click download, and then that's that. And then all of a sudden my Excel will pop up. And here's all my leads that came in. Of course, Microsoft has to check for updates every time you open Excel.
Oh, you're brave. You're using Excel on a Mac?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Brave. Yeah, you could just crash it. Yeah.
So yeah, so then you can see, here's the ID. What's cool about it is actually you can see when the ad was actually created as well, which I think was kind of cool because it actually timestamps it.
Right.
And that I think is really powerful because it also gives you some good insight as to when, and it's kind of the same with conversion too, because there's no delay. It shows up in conversion right away too. So you should be able to go back to the email stream. But it's kind of cool to see when people are typically searching. So and you'll find there's a direct correlation between really good quality leads before about 10 o'clock at night, and after 10 o'clock at night, they pretty much don't remember what they even were looking at because they're about 8 beers in. And so, that's about it.
I know from personal experience what you're talking about. So guys, you don't actually, if you wanted to, one approach here would be to say, all right, in the beginning, I don't want to mess with Zapier. Let me just let people click through, let them click through the conversion site. Some will re-register when they get the conversion. That is a little glitch in this process. They are going to be prompted to re-register, but I found most do. They will put their email in.
Yeah, we found the same thing.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. You could skip Zapier and just say, hey, I'm only going to let the people opt in, and then go back later, call down your list, and then the people who are serious, who have good conversations to, then add them to conversions. So it's totally up to you. But for $20 and a little bit of extra time, Zapier probably makes sense.
Yeah, and then that your audience, and this is the other thing, by dropping that pin right on your house and just doing 1 mile radiuses, I mean, when all of a sudden you're taking a look at an ad relevancy of a 9, I mean, it's a rating from 1 to 10 that estimates how well your target audience is responding to your ad. It's like, holy mackerel, dude, right? I mean, it's like, I run Facebook advertising for my son's book, and he's in a niche in the autism niche, and very rarely do we even hit 10s, and we've been doing it now for 2.5 years. Yeah. I mean, like a specific ad to a specific target audience, I think we've hit 10, like I say, a couple of times. So 9's pretty amazing.
I agree.
You know,
I've only seen that with single properties. I cannot get a generic property search list ad to rank that high for relevance.
yeah.
And it's important, guys, because it drives your cost per, when Facebook sees a relevance like that, they drive your cost per click down, and then, of course, your lead goes way down, your lead costs.
Yeah.
Does it add phone? That's the question. The lead ads collects a real phone number when you generate the lead ad, the lead generation objective. So yeah, you get accurate phone numbers, which is the coolest part here.
Yeah, and the neat part about Facebook is they already have this information anyways, so the click is exactly the same. Facebook pre-populates the forms for them, so they don't have to type anything. All they have to click is, yes, I want this information.
Jody, can you go? Yeah. Can you go to my St. Pete, Florida real estate site? We can show people how that works, I think.
Yeah. So let's see. What is it? It's my
ST. No. It's STP. STPETE. This is like my test site. St. Pete.
Yeah.
FL.
Yeah.
Realestate.com. Because we didn't actually show the pre-fill, and people usually get light bulbs. And you see I have a what's mine worth up there in the navigation. I think that's going to bring up Facebook when you click that. I was just showing it to somebody the other day.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So this is a seller ID I've been testing. But when you click the... Oh, I was testing. Wow, it was 6 months ago. I keep thinking about this and revisiting it. I can't... Sometimes time just flies by, but I keep coming back to this idea. Anyway, click to learn more on the ad, if you can.
Let's see. Learn more. Oh, yeah. Here.
On the first... Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then there we go. So this is where the stuff is pre-filled.
Oh, dude, this is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, this is very cool.
In your case, you don't have your street address in there.
No, I don't for this particular profile. This actually happens to be my admin's profile,
right?
Jody. So, yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. So, but normally this would all be filled out. Cool.
Yeah. If it had your details, so in the case, the property examples, you wouldn't be looking for their street address, city, state. You would just choose to only ask for the phone number. I asked a question about if they're planning to sell. But this gives you guys some context on the behavior. And there was a thread in the group the other day, and somebody was like, what do you do when somebody says they never registered for your site? And that's probably what's happening is sometimes they're seeing a Facebook ad, they're clicking really quick, and they don't even realize they've injected their info. So
yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, this has got some legs, Ryan. This could be really super cool.
Well, no, that'll work. That'll be 15 or 20 bucks a lead all day long. But that's okay. They're opting in to get an RPR report. I think I've shared that on this, on these sessions before. Mm-hmm. So they're opting in, and what you do is you send them to. I think you'll see a video of me after you opt in saying thank you. My brother's going to prepare a report and send it to you. Yeah, you can go ahead and do it. And then your job is to send the RPR out by email and by hard mail. So bonus today, guys. Here's how to get seller leads with the same process.
You're all set. Your information, Tableau. Yeah, this is great. I mean, it's super, super cool campaign. That's awesome.
And I didn't even
create a report delivered in one business hour.
Oh, hey, welcome to
Yeah, love it.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So injected. So guys, I don't want to get too off track. Jody, thank you for sharing, because bottom line is you're in a $400,000 market. And you're getting leads with full name, email, phone for $1.20 or whatever. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, the key is, like I say, and the real key is that making sure that your audience is really, really highly targeted to homeowners and renters, and then also, that you're displaying property. And as you can see, I mean, hey, the photos are the photos, right? They're just MLS photos, so it doesn't have to be anything beautiful. It's just really about, getting the properties in front of people that want to see them.
You've opened a big loop with people, I think, and I missed it. You keep talking about targeting the audience. Now you got to show it. Everybody's like, well, where is this target? You got to show it.
Oh, hold on. We're almost out of time. No, I'll definitely show it.
Right there, yeah.
Happy to do it. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so first of all,
Can you
one of the things that I think is
sorry to
super,
interrupt. Can you do it from the edit? If you click the little edit right where your cursor is right now,
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
that'll show everybody kind of where to do it. Yeah. Thank
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, our audiences tend to be really, really small. So in this particular case, it's 9,600 people. So again, daily budget. I've placed the pin, and the pin again is only 1 mile. So again, when you take a look at this audience, this is literally, that pin is on that house. The other thing is also making sure that you're only looking at people who live in that location. That's a really big deal, right? Because if you don't select that, then they may not live there. They may just be visiting there, their profile information is there, whatever it may be. So we're only interested in people that are there. We also know, according to NAR, that typically the average age is somewhere around 33. So we are not really interested in anybody that's younger, and definitely don't care if they are older. But again, we're really trying to narrow the audience to our buyers. In this particular case, we're only targeting homeowners, but we exclude anybody in the real estate industry. So anybody who is in the real estate industry, anybody who is thinking about being in real estate, anybody who is employed in the real estate industry, or anyone that has any type of real estate related job title. That is so important because there are a ton of real estate brokers that are just sitting around on Facebook, dinking around, and when they see a house come in, they just start clicking on your ad. And I think it drives up costs. And here's how I know that, is because when I was doing testing for the for sale by owners ad, that's exactly what happened. And in fact, I had a real estate broker that called me because he was infuriated that I was encouraging for sale by owners to sell homes on their own. And the reality of it is that it's a contrarian strategy, and even when you encourage them, the vast majority are not going to. And guess who is going to get the call when they go to buy? Well, it's going to be me. And but yeah, he was just hacked. And I'm like, well, dude, I don't want my ad in front of these people anyways. And so that's all there is to the targeting. I mean, that's really it. Homeowners, and then you exclude the other thing. Everything else is fine. I set all bid amounts are automatic. The only other thing that I typically do not do is well, and with these lead form ads, they're only on the feeds anyways. So you can't do, I think, Instagram and the other lead areas.
The only other place we're targeting, and it might be overkill, but I guess on specific listings, if you had, for example, if you knew the house had a pool, maybe you target parents with kids.
Yeah.
You change the language a little more. If you know it's one level living, maybe you target people who are a little older or retired. But
well, and the other thing, what's interesting about it too is where there's also some interesting things around. We'll say that for another day. But there's some really.
I want to see it.
Well, there's some really interesting thing that Facebook is doing around credit. I'm experimenting with some foreclosure campaigns where how everyone gets the foreclosure list, people that are going to foreclosure, all those kinds of things. Well, when you're targeting homeowners, but their credit score is down in the 500 and below.
Wow.
You can really, there's a high likelihood that those people are actually in foreclosures, and then you also bounce that against their mortgage when they actually took the mortgage out on their property.
I didn't know that. So you could see how long they've had the mortgage?
Well, there's a way. It's not there yet. The stuff right now on Facebook is in beta right now. But basically what they're doing is Facebook is in the process of giving, and it's not access to FICO scores because they don't do that, but there's some headings, demographic headings that tie into the FICO score database, and you have to. There's about 4 or 5 different criteria that you have to put on. I'll show it to you one day, Ryan. Because,
I'm sure they know. I'm sure they're getting data about who has like high interest rate secured credit cards and things like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So. And when people are actually, so like here's recent mortgage borrowers, they also have people who have borrowed, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So you can kind of target people when they were in the peak of the market, right, and still maybe are rolled over, or they're at par now but don't really realize it. And now is a great time for them to sell. Gotcha. So something playing around with as well.
Yeah, great tips. That's really useful stuff.
Yeah.
Especially for the mortgage lenders, if you're doing anything refi based, that could be wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, maybe we'll do another class. I'll get that actually perfected and then figure it out. But be some cool stuff around.
So, guys, were there any other questions? I think Jody, thank you, man. You definitely helped me move the needle on this stuff. Those are big breakthroughs. The single property stuff and some of the stuff you were just mentioning on targeting. Everybody
absolutely happy to do it. And if anybody, like I say, needs help, out there, it's what I do. I happen to work with my brother. I work with several other, companies out there as well. Been a coach.
Also,
say that one more time.
Plug yourself and plug your son's book. That's a really interesting product. It's not real estate.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting project.
Thank you for doing that. That's pretty stinking cool. Thanks, man. I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
So, in fact, actually what I'll do is I'll show you. I think that is, because I think that's kind of cool. So number one, I guess while I'm loading up my son's book, I'll plug myself first because I've got to queue this up real quick. But if you want to, my website's mcnamer.com. You'll see my coaching practice is closed to any individual clients. I do not work with individuals at all. Not that I don't like individuals. It's just I have enough private coaching clients to work with. But I do work with teams. And one of the things that I do is exactly what we talked about, which is, hey, if you have a team and you want to get them fed with high-quality leads, I'm definitely someone to talk to. I've helped dozens of clients improve their lead generation and client conversion, as you can see, by the sexy ad copy. And if you just simply go to my website, which is mcnamer.com, it's just my last name, mcnamer.com, and then it's / leads. When you click on here, on this hastily created website or web page, you're actually going to get access to my calendar, and you're going to get a free lead generation consultation. So you just click on whatever day is available, and as you can see, my calendar is fairly packed. But as time goes out, pick whatever available time is there. I highly encourage you to do that, and then we'll get together.
Yeah, I just wanted to vouch for you, Jody, because I know that you're working a lot with conversion lately. You've brought us some pretty good clients. So I can say firsthand that Jody has an in-depth knowledge of conversion at the broker level that I don't think a lot of the ISA shops and the assistants who are out there, have. So if you're specifically dealing with a large team or something like that, he'd probably be a good guy to call. And then,
so definitely would love to help you out there. My real passion is, about 60% of my time is spent in my coaching practice and working with people, and conversion has definitely been a huge part of that just over this last year or so. About 40% of my time is spent in a nonprofit called Autism Works. My son Tyler, who now is 22, has autism. He also is a published author of Population 1, Autism, Adversity, and the Will to Succeed. Currently, he has sold just over, I think, 22,000 copies of his book, Population 1. And one of the things, and again, I think this kind of really does go hand in hand with our discussion. Let me do this real quick.
Right, because you've honed a lot of your real estate ad skills actually from that business, right?
Yeah, dude. That's exactly right. So I'm just going to show you kind of like here's one of his ads. So Tyler, as you can see, Tyler spends 70 or 80 bucks a day on Facebook ads, and we have done. He also speaks across the country, and we have ads that just simply are very, very simple ads that go out that are unbelievably effective because of the audiences that we choose. The audience for this particular one is about 8,200 people, which is, hey, thank you for the privilege of speaking at your event in 2016. I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve your communities. I'm now booking for my 2017 speaking dates. Please send my dad an email at jody@mcnamer.com if you're organizing an event. My son, who has been deemed by the state of Washington as unemployable, my son does very, very well for himself and supports himself independently and ships on average about 30 books a day simply from a Facebook ad that runs, and I'll show you the Facebook ad. It's very, very simple, but I'll show you the post here. And if you know anyone that's affected by autism, I highly encourage you to buy the book. But it just says Tyler's on a mission to help people understand autism. 19-year-old with autism writes a book to help others to understand. As you can see, he's 22 now. This campaign, if you take a look at it, has only been going on, I don't know, this is a newer one, I think. Let me take a look here real quick. This is a brand new audience campaign. So I think it's been 3 months maybe that it's been up.
This brings up a few good points, Jody. So in the process of learning these skills in your real estate practice, you also become very lethal. I found this myself in other industries and other things. You're coming at it the opposite way, probably. You did Tyler's stuff first, right?
Yeah, it's true, right? Which is kind of funny. And so, he launched this ad back in August 21st, and as you can see, at 60 bucks a day, he's at 2.2 million people that have reached, 2.3 thousand comments, 35,000 shares. What's interesting is that he only paid for 759,000 impressions, and twice that amount of people have shared it organically. 94,000 people have liked it or loved it, but what I think is just so amazing, right, is if we just take a look at some of the recent comments, hey, he ordered the book, which is cool, how wonderful, anxious to read it, thank you very, much. It's so humbling. I mean, it's just so stinking humbling working with the autism community. We had the privilege of speaking to one of the local tribal schools here, and it's just, Tyler and I will be in El Paso, Texas. So if any of you are in El Paso, Texas, we're speaking at an autism conference on December 1st out there. And so you'll see Tyler, he speaks across the country, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet, some of you as well, whether, because again, 1 in 68 of our children, young adults, and adults are somewhere on that spectrum. And so Tyler's whole mission is really to help people understand autism. And so he does. He touches hundreds of thousands of people each year, millions of the people in the context of Facebook and its impressions, and then, of course, thousands, tens of thousands of people in the purchase of his book. So, okay. Ryan, thanks for letting me. That was really cool of you to let me. It's the thing. He's amazing. He's absolutely.
Yeah. So everybody, I'm sure. Thank you everybody for for checking that out if you can, and we'll get the recording live, Jody. Thank you so much. You have, I think you've helped us take a big step forward with this real estate lead gen stuff. This is really cutting edge, single property lead ads, and I hope everybody re-watches this recording and actually implements this because it could have big implications for your GCI.
Sounds great. Let me know how I can help. Guess I'll be you later.
See you, Jody. See you, everybody. We'll get the link out. Eileen, I'll email Ryan at conversion.com. I'll reply with Jody's link. Okay. Thanks.
See ya.